Today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by Jennifer C. at HomeLifeCultureLink.com, Nino Simeka at MortgageGodfather.ca, and Jewelry Forever at JewelryForever.ca. Enjoy the show.
Broadcasting live from Glenmore Record Studios in Toronto, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, your Sunday morning talk show with interesting guests, live musical performances, and the most fun you can fit in your coffee cup. Hosted by Scott Dion Brown and Regina Elena. This is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown. La 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 la.
Nothing like a nice sip of your morning tea. Tea in my case. I don't drink coffee much anymore, but I drink tea. Earl Grey. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 94, I believe it is, of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, and I'm your host, as always, the one, the only, Scott Dion Brown. And normally, I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, the greatest co-host in the galaxy, the one, the only, Regina Elena. But she wasn't able to make it today. She's out of town visiting family. And the plan was for her to do the show from there, but there were some internet issues, and just wasn't able to work it out. So, Regine, we miss you. Thinking of you. Hello. We'll see you next week. But so it's this morning. It's just me, guys. Just me and all of you, and of course, our guest. Who we got? KTC Asmome is here. Good morning, KTC Asmome. Skullboy Gamer. Hello. Caden Chun is here. Welcome, Caden. Samuel Winkler, what's up? Lava Knight, how are you, Lava Knight? Papyrus and Sands, hello, Papyrus. Hello, humans and monsters, what's going on? Loki009, hello, Loki. Hello. Good morning. I start my morning with a hot chocolate and some cookies. That sounds delicious, Papyrus. Hot chocolate and cookies, delicious. Hey, Regina Elena is in the chat. Hello, Regine, hello. Sorry you couldn't be here, but we're going to truck on without you, and we'll be missing you, but there you are. Say hi to Regine in the chat, everybody. Good morning. Peter Steed, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Hi, Peter. Welcome. Well, everybody, hi. I don't have a co-host today, so who am I talking to? Well, I guess I'm talking to you guys, but I think rather than just have this conversation where you guys can only respond in text, what you're gonna do anyway, maybe I should just bring in my guest. The guest today is coming in over Skype all the way from the UK, and she's a very talented actress, and let's just bring her in. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Peter Stead. Thank you, Peter. All right, pronounced Stead. And hello, Gregor. What's going on? Gregor Strail. I'm sure I said that wrong as well. But good morning. Hello. I'll get your name proper as well. But anyway, please welcome to the show, everybody. The one and only Hannah Knight. Hello.
Hiya. Hey, guys. Peter, Greg. Good friends.
Oh, awesome. Well, yes, welcome to the show. And do you know how to pronounce Greg's last name? Because I'm sure I said it wrong.
I feel like I say it wrong too. I'm sorry, Greg, but Straley.
Straley, maybe. Straley. Okay, if you want to pronounce it or spell it out, if you want to spell it out phonetically in the chat,
exactly.
You can let us know.
Yeah.
But so how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. Thank you very much. It's not a bad day in London. Now there's some blue skies. It's quite grey. I feel like it's a classic thing to talk about the weather in England.
Yeah, well, I mean, here as well. And I know that's what they always say is they always say it's kind of grey in London. Toronto here today, it's quite blue actually. The sky is blue. There's some small white clouds, but
that's
it's nice. it's nice to know the sun is coming out where you are as well.
Yeah, great. I'll join you on some tea.
Oh, good. What kind of tea are you drinking?
I love green tea.
Oh, that's nice. I like green tea as well. Although in the morning I usually like a nice Earl Grey. That's what I start with. But green tea's good. And then sometimes in the evenings I'll switch to a lemon ginger.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
It is. Oh, Gregor says it's pronounced Strayle. Shtrayle. Strayle.
Strayle. Yeah.
Strayle. Okay, well, welcome. Welcome, Gregor. Welcome, Peter Stead. Oh, and Claudia Batts is also here. Hello, Claudia.
Oh,
Batts.
yes. Hi. Hey.
Cool. We have an audience, everybody. We have an audience. So here we are. You're here on the show, all the way from London. And I guess I wanted to ask, you're the first person that we've ever had on the show, I guess not in North America, because we've had a couple people on over from the US, and then everyone else before that was people who were in Canada or even in Toronto locally. But since we started doing the show over Skype because of this pandemic, I figured it makes it easier to interview people from all over the place. And but you're the first person we've ever had from the UK. So
totally. Oh, so honored.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. So how have things been over there? I mean, obviously, we started doing the show like this over Skype because of the pandemic. But so what has it been like over there going through it?
Well, I feel like it was pretty much lockdown end of March, and it's been about 3 months until some sense of normality came about. But I guess it was also just trying to keep busy in that lockdown time. So for me, it was like just trying to do new things. I got a bit more into some like voice acting projects. And that was something that I felt like, oh, okay, I want to try. If I can't physically, interact with people like normal job, I might as well try and hone in on some skills from home. So that was really cool to just try and like it's still acting, but like expanding your horizons within that field. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Did you, when you had to do, oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah. Continue if you were going to keep going.
No, go. And then it was just trying to get into new routines. And I feel like I'm quite a curious person. So it was doing like more yoga sessions and even doing some online courses just to kind of like, okay, I want to tap into some different mindsets. And because it's like you have that more being alone, it's like a bit more introspective, I feel. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of curious about computer science. Let's kind of learn a bit more about that and then see if it comes in handy in future. I'm very into sci-fi, so I felt like it would be good to get some kind of exposure to that.
Awesome. When you mentioned doing some voice acting, so did you have to do, I guess, something you had to record? You'd record that from home, like if you had to do, say, an audition or anything, so you were doing all your auditions from home, like self-tapes and that kind of thing?
Yeah, a lot of self-tapes. I was still hearing a lot back from my agent too, which was good to just feel like, oh, okay, I actually hopefully will have some work by the end of the line. And but a lot of the things were also finding things myself or through friends who I've worked with before. Mm-hmm. And one of those was a sci-fi film, actually, sci-fi short. And it was just doing the voice. It was like more of a dystopian feel to it. So I feel like I had a lot to play. And it was one of the first few things that I've seen of like sci-fi and comedy mixed together.
Oh, yeah.
If you get a chance to see it, it's called C600. And that was the same, the director with the Bond film, the Bond fan film that was in.
Yeah. Awesome. C600, is that's out now? It's available for people to watch now, or it's still coming out?
Yeah. It's on YouTube. It's out. I think it's been out for about a month now. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. C600, everybody, check it out. And what I'll do is I'll add it to the link in the description down below. So if you're watching this not live, as soon as you're done watching this, go down and watch that one. Okay, well, since you brought it up, we might as well ask you about the Bond fan film. So, yeah, you were in a James Bond fan film titled No Time to Die, and really, really awesome. Really, really well done. Tell us a bit about that. What was it like?
It was. I always wanted to get more into action, drama, acting, sci-fi stuff. I mean, not sci-fi, but like within that field of like action. And so I actually reached out to the director while I was in the Philippines at the time, just before mid-March. And it was, I'd seen some of his previous stuff. So I felt like, hey, I want to, connect, let's meet up. And that he said he had that role open. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay, that's, something in my line of interest. And then it just built on from there. Just it was meeting the cast virtually too. And then we just had the one day. It was a long day, almost, I would say at least 10 hours of the day shooting that. We had some stunt people who work in stunts as well come in and choreograph that fighting bit, towards the end.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah. So it was a one-day shoot. You shot the whole movie in one day?
In one day, exactly. I think we were trying to do it in 2 days, but the original venue, it was actually closed down because of coronavirus. So that was one of the few studios and locations we could get within that time. And it was only until a week. Yeah, it was a week later, then it was fully locked down, and we couldn't go back anyway on the day after. The studio was shut.
Huh. Yeah. I don't know if it was the same there as it was here, but it was right up until the moment they said it was a pandemic, it was everything was fine. So, and then it's just hit like a brick wall, and then the next day everything was changed. So it was just 1 minute everybody's working, everybody's kind of going about their business, and then suddenly the next day everything is shut down and nobody can find toilet paper anywhere. That kind of happened.
Oh yeah, here. Exactly. Here it was also eggs and pasta.
Okay.
I don't know about in Toronto.
People didn't rush for the eggs and pasta, but that to me makes more sense. Toilet paper to me, it makes the least amount of sense. I mean, if you're going to be stuck at home with running water and everything, toilet paper is the bottom of my list. I don't know how that ended up being the thing that everybody felt they needed to survive if you're at home.
Yeah, I found that quite ridiculous too. I was just like, okay, so there's no, just kind of, you don't need to stock up it's a year's worth, but
yeah,
good to have a few.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, at least, pasta, stuff that started disappearing quickly when they shut down was anything canned, any kind of food that lasts a while. So beans and anything that comes in a can, that kind of disappeared quite quickly. Along with toilet paper. I mean, the weird part about it all though is I remember our government here was saying it right from the beginning. They were like, we're not running out of anything, we're not actually short of anything. So if everybody just buys what they need, it's fine. And the only reason the stores ran out is because everyone bought up what they had, but then they replenished. So it took a couple weeks or a few weeks, and then everything was kind of back to everything was available. But yeah, was it about the same there?
Yeah, similar as well. Yeah, it's just restocking, and then they did put a limit. So it was you could only buy from when you were checking out. It was maybe 2 loads maximum, which was good to have a cap.
Yeah, just to stop people hoarding things. Yeah, I think they still have a cap on the number of cleaning wipes you can buy. Those I don't know. We have Lysol disinfectant wipes. They put a limit on those. I think you can only buy 1 case or whatever they've done. So it's not back to normal yet. Oh, Claudia Batts says also flour in the UK. I guess you guys ran out of flour as well.
Yes, that was also. I think everyone just started baking.
Yeah.
As a hobby.
I guess so.
Seemed that.
Again, that one at least makes sense. I mean, when somebody says that you guys everybody was running out and buying food, that at least kind of logically makes sense to me. You're like, okay, we're gonna be at home. We need to eat. I'm not gonna. You can't. I mean, I just feel like toilet paper is just. That's not the last thing you want to be left with. Oh, we've got nothing left, but we've got our.
Well, we've just got toilet paper at home.
Yeah. tons of it, enough for years. Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. Anyway, that was how that was. Yeah, one thing I was interesting. So you said you had to do self-tape auditions because even back here, like things have started. We've started shooting again. Like productions have started opening again, but no, I haven't done any in-person auditions since. I guess since at least March. They've been. I think they're just not doing them. So they've all been self-tapes and.
Yes,
yeah,
and getting used to self-tapes and like I guess. Because that's another skill in itself, I see, because it's like, and working with as if there's another person in the room that you're actually feeding energy from.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like, okay, this is like not something I've ever thought about before until lockdown.
Yeah. Did you end up having to do any like live auditions over like Zoom or Skype or anything like that, where you were live with somebody else?
I have actually, yeah, for some for I think one was more for like a commercial kind. So then it was like you needed that interaction with another person, and that makes sense. And it was especially when it got to more of like getting callbacks. It was okay, live, like Skype call, and then or like usually Zoom chat, and then before that it was like you always had to send in the self tape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about the same here. Like the self tape was usually the first audition, and then if you got a callback, it's over Zoom. I'm not a big fan of the Zoom audition, or maybe I'm just not used to it. But it feels weird. Like I prefer if I'm auditioning for somebody, for them to be in the room, because then I can, like usually I find when I leave an audition, right, I usually have a pretty good feeling of like I can
feel the vibe of that person, of the casting director and the director themselves.
Yeah, so it's like I leave and I'm like, I'm used to now going to an audition. I'm like, okay, I don't expect to get it or not, because I find you can drive yourself crazy when you just hype up every audition. But I do have that feeling in my mind as like, okay, yeah, I nailed that one. I know that I did everything that I could possibly do, right? And you can feel the vibe of the casting director or whatever. But over Zoom, I find it's not, you don't get that same feedback. At least that's been my experience so far. I don't know how you feel about the Zoom audition.
Yeah, and then sometimes having to worry about internet connection or noise sometimes coming from outside, and it's all out of your control. So it's like, okay, that happened. So there was just totally like there was a baby just crying outside.
Yeah, I mean, even doing this show, I mean, actually, I like doing the show over Skype. The stuff I like about it is there's no commute, and I'm in my house, so I don't have to go anywhere, so that's nice. But the thing that
it's very helpful for me, because if I were to be on your show, then flights. It would take me a while to get there.
Yes, that's true. That's the thing. Yeah, we'd have to fly you in here, which I'm sorry to say the show's getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, exactly. Next time. The show's getting bigger, but we're not quite at the budget yet of where we can fly in our guests. But that's coming. I'm sure that's coming.
Great. I'm glad I have priority now.
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, the thing I don't like at all is the that few second delay. Which, I mean, we're even seeing it here. I mean, from the moment when you speak, there's obviously that few seconds where I hear it, and then when I speak, there's a few seconds when you hear it. So that's just sort of something that we've kind of adjusted to. Doing the show, but that's why you'll see people watching. If we find ourselves going like we talk and then somebody else talks over the other, and we're like, oh, sorry, no, you go ahead. It's because there's that delay between when we, speak.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was that. It's like you're having a bit of a long pause from here. Okay, it's not just that. Yeah,
well, because the problem with it, right, is like if you're having a conversation with somebody in person, and you say something and they just sit there for a moment, right? That's a situation where like. You've said something that confused them, or like they're not sure, right? Like in a regular conversation. So if I speak and then if I'm like, what do you think? And then you're just like, there's part of me that goes, and then you feel that need to like fill the gap, right? You want to like say something, and so that's something we kind of have to just,
Or I didn't mean to talk over you. It's just, that didn't quite fit in right.
Yeah, exactly. So we're all adjusting. Oh, Claudia Batts asks. Do you have any special equipment / tips for recording self-tapes?
Honestly, no. And a lot of casting directors or agents say like you can just film from your phone. So I just have the standard, like an iPhone, quite an old version now, iPhone 7. And I use that for the basis of like just setting it up from my room. And even the audio from that is fine. I just need to sometimes double check it over.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it would be handy, especially going into more voice acting stuff. It would be to have an actual like voice mic that you can attach, or something what you're using now.
Yeah. For voice acting, especially, that way they can get a more accurate feel of your voice. But are you? Well, I mean, and I guess the other thing, Claudia, if any tips as well, is usually putting a light in front of your face is good as well. That's the biggest thing. But in fact, are you in front of a window? Or are you lighting yourself, or what are you using right now?
What do you think?
I mean, it looks like a very even lighting. So I'm thinking it's either a window or maybe like, do you have like a ring light or one of those things?
No, nothing fancy. Actually, it's light, but then I do have like a desk mirror, so it kind of reflects a bit of light to get the balance. It's a little trick I learned.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it works. It works. So there you go. There you go, Claudia. Yeah. But that's true. Like the cameras on smartphones and stuff now are so good that it's pretty much all you need to do a self-tape. And I guess in most cases, casting directors, they don't expect, high production value necessarily. They really just want to know, like, what do you look like, and what do you sound like, and can you emote and all that stuff. So there you go.
Yeah, and if you can connect, it's useful that way too with self-tapes, because if you can connect through a screen and you've already had the ability of setting that up, then it's going to be like, wow, okay, they've also done this on their own direction. And I think that's also something that the industry is starting to value. Yeah,
I think so. Well, especially now that we can't see each other in person less and less. So it makes sense. Actually, the one self-tape I had that was interesting was right in the middle of the pandemic. It was for a commercial, and I think at the time they didn't know if they were going to be able to open up to shoot. So what they were actually asking for was they actually wanted to see my like living space, and the idea was that if I got the part, I would be actually shooting it myself. Like I'd be producing the footage myself, and then just sending. I guess they would direct me from online, and then I would send it to them, and then they would add it into the commercial. I think in the end they ended up not needing to because things opened up in the end. But but that was the most technically, I guess, involved self-tape I had to do, because they wanted some production value there. But otherwise, I usually shoot in front of a plain wall. But that was interesting.
Yeah, usually it's done, outside. And I guess with smaller productions, it's easier to get things rolling. I was attached to a project when I was in the Philippines, and it was like the plan was like, I'll be back in time for it, and we'd start shooting in April. But then obviously that didn't happen, but it was also a good chance for the director, and she lives up in York, and her and like a team, again, from all around the world, to just like work on it over the lockdown time. And then now we're actually like it's all kind of kicking up in the air again. So we're essentially getting the ball rolling, and it's going to be done. Like the filming is in 2 weeks' time.
Awesome. So there you go. You're getting right back into things. That's good. In fact, that's good. Avon45, welcome to the stream, Avon. He asks, what upcoming projects can you talk about? So I mean, you're kind of on that subject now. So if you want to go into some more detail, stuff you're working on or stuff that's on the way, anything you can mention?
Yeah. So that one is called Darling Girl, and you can even follow on Instagram. It's called Darling Girl Short, and with lockdown, that really gave a lot of time for the crew to develop the story, and it was something that I came across it on Daisy. I don't know if you know about the platform. It's like an online creative platform, and it's very popular in the UK, and I think it's starting to in the US, because I was just having a look like a couple of days ago, and I saw so many like coming up, just short films, and it's just a bunch of creatives trying to collaborate and make something.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but it sounds cool. Okay, so you were finding projects popping up on there.
Yeah, so that was one I found when I was in the Philippines, and I knew I was going to make it back in time in England so that we would start shooting in April. But then, because that didn't happen, it was like, okay, more time to flesh out the story. And it really took like some of the key concepts and themes of like coming of age, but really focusing on it more.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's like a lot of the kind of dynamics that the director took from was like the Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah, okay.
And just exploring it from there. And I like that it was being able to be a part of that project very early on, and something just when you're looking out for projects, it's just more of like, do you feel like, how do you see yourself like in terms of like your acting persona? What can you kind of give to the role, and what's something that you want to take away from it, I think are very important things in trying to dedicate your time. And that was definitely one that stuck out, and I'm so happy to like be on board that one, and it's still going through. So that was a really good plus even in this time.
Awesome. So there's one. Ashley02, welcome to the stream, Ashley02. She asks, are there any projects in animation or video games production? Have you been a part of any of those types of projects?
In video games, well, speaking of like fan films, from the Bond fan film, there is one that I've just been cast in, and it's like a video game fan film.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I would like share too much about it, because it's still something we're trying to find like the time in filming and shooting it properly. And that one is, if you know, like the voice actress Laura Bailey, she actually voices the character in one of the video games for it.
Awesome. Yeah. So can't say too much about it, but that's something that's coming down the line.
I think exactly.
Awesome. I haven't done any video game auditions yet. I would love to, but I feel like those are going to become increasingly a larger part of kind of the film industry, because I think the video games now have gotten so advanced, I guess you could say, that they're basically films, a lot of them, right? I mean, now, especially the more recent ones, they're actually casting like big name actors and putting their actual likeness in the game and getting them to voice it. So it actually becomes a role that you can actually play.
It's like that, what's the game? Cyberpunk.
Yeah. With Keanu, right?
Keanu Reeves. Yeah,
that's right. So that's it's cool. And yeah, and I know a few of my friends have gone out for a few video game auditions, so I hope I can get on that. I just think it'll be really, really cool, and get to wear all that what do they call it, mocap stuff and everything, because I think they capture your movements and your performance and stuff. You ever worn anything like that or done anything like that yet, or not yet?
I haven't, no, but I'm really keen on getting into something like that, so I'm definitely open to that opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be cool, because the way they can do it now, I mean, I guess what's his name, Andy Serkis kind of pioneered a lot of that in Lord of the Rings and stuff, but it's so cool that they actually, so even though it's like an animated creature or whatever you're playing, it's actually your performance, because they capture your actual facial movements and everything. So I just think it'd be really cool.
Exactly, and then they apply it onto it, like visually apply it. That's insane.
That's pretty cool. Well, speaking of video games, do you play video games? Have you ever played video games? Would you call yourself a gamer? Were you a gamer?
Was I a gamer? Maybe in my past life, but no. Exactly. That's a whole other topic. But I used to play a bit younger, but it was games like, I don't know if it's still going on, but games like Left 4 Dead.
I think kind of that might be
Left 4 Dead 2, 1. I don't know. Maybe there's 5. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I know if I were to really start video gaming, like I would be down that rabbit hole, and that's all I would be doing.
Yeah.
But I would definitely love to be a character in a video game.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I think, and I have a feeling like more and more auditions are going to start popping up, I think, for that, because I think that's just the trend we're on. I mean, the productions behind video games now, they're there's like full soundtracks, you know, like professionally produced soundtracks. They have like sound design. They've got actors. There's, you know, everything that's involved in a film is now involved in video games. So it's there.
Yeah. Oh, I did have an audition for like creating a mobile app, and they wanted like a voice for the character in that game of a mobile app.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was kind of cool to, yeah, that was cool. So then it just kind of sparked the idea of like, yeah, that's something that I wouldn't be against the idea, but more or less films. I'm very interested in like the tech noir. I don't know if they call it that these days. But the Terminator, Blade Runner. It's still like it's just a fancier, like more of a niche of sci-fi and drama.
Yeah. So you are a big sci-fi fan. What would you do you have a favorite sci-fi film? One that is always your go-to?
Ooh. One that really moved me recently was Arrival.
Okay. That's the one where the aliens are like in the mist, right? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's this like language involved, like a foreign alien language, and is it Amy Adams trying to communicate with them. I think whenever it comes to films, it's like the timeline that's involved. So that one was, I don't want to spoil too much, but even movies like Memento, it's although it's not sci-fi, but it's got that like experimental feel. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Christopher Nolan, I just went out and saw Tenet this week, which is if you're a sci-fi fan, I think you'll enjoy that one as well. It's good.
Okay.
It's I don't know if you're. Have you seen Interstellar?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one, if people ask me right now, that's probably my favorite movie for the last few years. It's one that I can just always watch. I'm a massive Christopher Nolan fan right now, which is why his was like the only movie where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go outside and go to a public place to view this movie, which I'll do it for Christopher Nolan. Yeah, but it was good. It was one thing I find about all of his movies is I need to watch it like 2 or 3 times before I feel like I understood everything I saw. You know, I guess sci-fi can be like that, right? Because there's a lot of things, especially stuff that asks weird questions and stuff like that.
I remember feeling like that at the time of watching Inception.
Yeah, Inception's another one just like that. Yeah, which even Inception, I'm not still fully sure I completely understand it, but
and then I feel like the idea is also you're not supposed to completely understand. It's that it's so out there and open to interpretation. At the very end, it's like you can decide what the ending is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think he purposely leaves enough that you can understand the story, but I think he purposely leaves stuff to be interpreted at the edges, and I like it because it makes the world feel bigger, right? It makes it feel more real. Like, you know, you don't know everything, but there's stuff over there that's definitely there. You just
into the horizon. It's all open.
Yes. So people watching, I highly recommend Tenet, and for you as well, Hannah. If you like sci-fi, like that stuff, it was good. It was good. Have you been out to a movie theater yet, or not yet? Since in this pandemic age, have you gone out to see anything yet, or not yet?
I haven't yet, just because I wasn't sure. Like, well, that will be one that I'm going to watch in the cinema, and then I thought, like, I've just gotten so used to online, like just watching on Netflix, I guess because of coronavirus, and I felt like before that I was always going to the cinemas.
Yeah, I was the same. I was just got that. Oh yeah, sorry. So that was the delay like situation.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Me too. Yeah, that was just like a change of perspective, and it felt kind of refreshing to then, because after shooting the Bond fan film, and then it was that week of like lockdown was happening, and I didn't mind it actually. I was kind of welcoming it because I was like, oh, I just did a little bit of something. Like I felt quite proactive. Now I can have a little vacation and just like, you know, watch things that I want to watch for now. And I thought, yeah, it's going to be over in 2 weeks time. I'm sure I'm going to meet you guys soon. And then it's like, okay. When I got to the third week, I was like, I need to do something rather than just waiting around.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember that when we all thought it was going to be 2 weeks. Wow. How naive we were.
Yep.
the
so young and innocent.
Yeah. The weird part is now that I've gotten used to the pace of things, and now I look back and it's been months, and I'm like, what do you mean it's been months? Like, we haven't, what do you mean? But it's literally been like, what, 4 or 5 months now? I'm not even sure how long it's been. But it's just, and I've just kind of settled in. I've settled into it.
Yeah.
So.
No, but I have been, in the past month, I've been traveling a lot and more than I expected, just because some of the auditions that was the self-tapes I've been hearing back from. So one was a music video, and I was also through someone who I've worked with before. And then I was like shooting, that's, with music videos, it's just like all or nothing. It was like a full 14-hour day.
Wow.
And then also going to a place where I've never been to before. So it was also still a bit of like, oh, this is a like exploration for me.
Cool. And have you found, I know here where, cause yeah, I've been on a few sets now since this pandemic started reopening up things, but do you find, have they made a lot of precautions, or like, are things very different on set now, or how have you found it over there, being on set during this time?
No, it's good that people are still being very careful, and there's still these procedures. It's like, they'll wear a mask, especially with a makeup artist. They'll wear a mask, and then if they're applying on you, it's like you don't need to worry because they need to, touch up your face. And or like also with sounds, like sometimes they've shown me like it's in a plastic bag, and it's like, oh, it's been like cleansed and everything, and then you apply it yourself. So I was like, okay, that's I feel more at ease knowing that they're taking those steps for safety.
Yeah, it's I've been happy actually with the way the film industry, I guess they have to be responsible, because they know if they don't, then things will just get shut right down again. But because I was worried when I was first called out, and but yeah, so for mine, I've been to a few different ones, they've all been a little different, but all of them either wanted me to get a test before I went, or were encouraging me to get a test. So I went and got tested. So, but yeah, then when you're on set, like, you had things like, yeah, everyone's masked up. There was one set where every actor had an individual makeup set for them. So that way the makeup was only used for you. Yeah. But that was only on one of the sets. That wasn't every set. So that was interesting.
Ooh, okay.
And but it's been nice. It was good in that the weirdest part actually was, I remember my first day on set, I was sitting in the makeup chair, and this makeup artist is like brushing my hair, and I was like, this is so weird. Like, I said to her, like, you're the first human being other than my girlfriend to have like physical contact with me in any way in like months.
To touch, actually.
Yeah. It was like,
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was bizarre. So, and it was actually refreshing, because again, it's the same thing, because everybody, they created like a little bubble almost, whereas pretty much everybody who's there has more or less been tested or is socially distancing. So it was like the first time I was sitting in a group of people in a room and we were all just talking to each other, and I was like, I missed doing this. This is something that I kind of liked doing. So
yeah, I miss like being in the same room with other people who aren't in the same household as me.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird. Let me see who's out. Oh, Iku Pico. Hello, Scott. Hi. Welcome to the stream. Claudia Batts asks, what's your favorite film? If you have a favorite film.
Oh. It's quite difficult with films, because I do like a lot of genres. I mean, it's still sci-fi is one of my probably top favorites. But I'd definitely say Memento, because that was the one where I felt like I was left with a really big impression. And I feel like I always remember the way I was like mind blown from watching that.
Yeah. I still haven't, still haven't seen Memento, and I feel like I need to, because Christopher Nolan is my absolute favorite director, but I hadn't really discovered him at that time when that movie, I guess when he made it. So it's just, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you should. add
Yeah,
it to
definitely.
your list. Like, you got to work your way back now.
Yeah, get caught up on all his work, because yeah, he's my absolute favorite. Okay, yeah, but and I'm also the same. Usually when people ask me my favorite movie, like I told you Interstellar, but I say it's my most favorite recently, but I don't know if I really have a favorite. But so if you had to pick
I find
one,
it
you're
hard to
picking.
say like a favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that one. And it's also been some time since I've seen it, so I feel like I need a good refresh. Another one, Woody Allen, I believe. Purple Rose of Cairo. I quite like the older films.
Cool. So
Yeah,
there you go.
and then something to do, anything that's like magical realism or fantasy.
Awesome. Are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
That I am not, actually. I've tried, but then it's more of like shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I would say that's my all-time favorite. Like series, I know for series that's something I could watch over and over again, even at this time. Like, it feels like it's a whole new generation. And I heard that they were gonna make a reboot. I don't know if that's still going through though.
Yeah, I used to love Buffy. We used to, in fact, I remember my whole family, we used to watch that. Every time it would come on, it was like,
yeah,
we would just sit down and watch it every week as a family. I don't think we watched the entire series, but there was a couple seasons there where we were right in there. It was pretty.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's I have. Yeah,
and there was a spin-off.
Oh yeah, that's right. Angel.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
we
Buffy is like the OG.
Yes, we watched Angel for a while, but yeah, eventually we kind of fell out of it. So, actually, Angel wasn't a bad show if I remember correctly. And I think wasn't Spike?
It's not bad, no.
Yeah, was Spike in Angel? I think he was, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So there you go. It was.
That was a good continuation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ashley02 asks, who is your favorite film director? Mine is Christopher Nolan. So is mine. Who is yours?
Yeah. I would also say Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. There you
or
go.
Joss Whedon, because he directed Buffy.
Buffy, yes, of course. Makes sense. Yeah, Christopher Nolan, that's cool. But well, like you said, you mentioned Memento, mine is Interstellar. His movies to me just feel... The weird thing about Christopher Nolan movies to me is that they feel like they're not movies. I always feel like they're real things happening. Like it's actually really happening. Which, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it feels that way to me.
No, I get you. But then it's like really happening within that reality that's also somewhat fabricated.
Yeah. Well, like I remember watching Batman. Which one was
the
Dark Knight
Dark
Rises? Yeah, Dark Knight Rises. That one.
Yes.
Although, so Dark Knight Rises, I just remember, when like the whole revolution happens and they take over and they're having like their court system where like the Scarecrow guy is the judge or whatever.
Yes, everything was being overridden. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember watching that, and my brain was just flying because I'm sitting there going, this is what it would be like if there was like some kind of takeover of the government. Like, it would look like this. This is what it would look like. And it just felt like, it made me feel uneasy because it felt like real. And it's a Batman movie. Like, it's not real at all, but it still felt real. Like, it's what his movies always feel bigger than just a film. It's weird.
Yeah, it was a really dystopian moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then also, obviously, The Dark Knight with the Joker. The one I loved about that one is, I remember how even when the Joker wasn't on screen, it always felt like he was around every corner. Like, you could feel his presence. That I was just scared because I knew he was going to turn up and do something. And he was just, you could feel him through the whole movie. So cool the way he can build an atmosphere like that. So, pretty amazing. So, Christopher Nolan. There you go, Ashley02. Christopher Nolan is both of our favorite directors. We've got a few more questions, although we've been going for 45 minutes now. I want to we got to do a quick ad break, and then we'll kind of come back with more with Hannah Knight. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode of The Sit Down was brought to you by the following fantastic advertisers. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to find out what your home is really worth? Are you buying or selling a home? Well then, Jennifer C. Realtor at Home Life Culture Link is here to help. Call or text Jennifer today at 647-403-8887. Don't deal with just anyone. Speak to a professional. Jennifer C. at Home Life Culture Link. To see her current listings, visit homelifeculturelink.com. The Mortgage Godfather is here to give you advice with any mortgage needs you may have, and he will shop to find you the best mortgage. Nino Simeka, mortgage agent.
He'll give you an offer you can't refuse. Michael, I never wanted this for you. I'll make him an offer you can't refuse.
Find out more at mortgagegodfather.ca or call 905-604-6955. And was brought to you by Jewelry Forever. Conveniently located at CF Markville Shopping Center on 5000 Highway 7 East Markham. They do custom-made jewelry repairs and they change watch batteries, all done on site. Jerry over at Jewelry Forever is an absolute artist. If you have a vision, something beautiful you want created, he is the guy to create it for you. And we have an amazing deal worked out with them. If you tell them Scott and Regine sent you, when you go to your purchase, you will get 15% off. 15% off. Find out more at jewelryforever.ca. And they are open once again with COVID-19 safety measures in place. So head on over there and get yourself something beautiful. Jewelryforever.ca. Also, they're doing a lot of giveaways lately, guys. Follow them on Instagram, Jewelry Forever. And if you like the posts where they're giving out beautiful jewelry, you could win something nice. So check it out on Instagram, Jewelry Forever. And if you would like to advertise on the show, it's so easy. All you got to do is go to radioshowad@gmail.com. We'll set you up with a fantastic advertising plan. And it's a great way to reach a new audience. We do the show live, which means you can customize the ads week to week. Do you have a sale or an event coming up at a specific time or place? You let us know. We can tell your potential clients to in real time. And geez, oodles and oodles of customers coming your way. Wow, 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 wow. Radio show ad, radioshowad@gmail.com. And we're back. We're back with Hannah Knight, everybody. In fact, the truth is we actually didn't go anywhere. We didn't go anywhere. We've been here the whole time. But now you can see us both. So, hello, Hannah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hiya.
Hi. Actually, one thing I want to just ask you, just kind of talking a bit about the Bond fan film. I mean, that film has gone viral online. I mean, it's over 1 million views when I was checking. Over 1 million people. So what does it feel like to know that over 1 million people have seen your performance in the No Time to Die fan film?
Well, it does feel like an honor, and I feel like it was also very lucky at the time because I'm sure a lot of people were searching for like the actual No Time to Die film itself and the trailer or like what's happening with it, and because we knew also like at the same time we knew like, oh, that's going to be released and why not like in some time, but we didn't expect it to be so delayed. And it was just kind of to try and get people more excited for the actual film itself to come out. And this one, it was really fun to just be able to have that like creative license and like, okay, these are the characters, but then the storyline and the timeline is going to be a bit different, more of a prequel to it. So it would be leading up, getting people more anticipated for it.
Yeah. I mean, it was really great. I mean, I should say, because we talked about it very briefly in the beginning and then we kind of moved on, but your performance was really, really great in it, I should say.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, it was shot beautifully as well. If you want, you maybe shout out the director and the creator of the film because it really looks, well, it looks like a Bond film. But yeah, tell us a bit about it.
Yes, of course. All to Blake Ritter. Thanks so much. Yeah, he shot it on a red camera, and like not literally the color red, but that's what it's called, red camera.
Yep.
And yeah, it's huge. Like the DOP, she was definitely like looked like very heavy labor work. I was like, oh, okay, everything fine, yeah. But I really liked that it was very a welcoming set, and these were people I've never worked with before. So it was just like get quickly introduced to one another, and then like, great, we're starting filming today.
Awesome.
And it was all very fast paced.
Awesome. Yeah, that's like you said, it was one day of filming, and it's really good, guys. Check it out. That's one I've already put the link in the description. So if you do want to see Hannah Knight perform in the No Time to Die fan film, check it out. Over 1 million views. And the other thing that's good about it is it's got over 1 million views. But people also like it. So it's not like people are watching it on 1 million people have seen it and they're like, what is this? It's like the review, the like ratio and the comments are overwhelmingly positive. So it's good. Check it out, people. Check it out.
Scott, if I could ask you something.
Yes.
What was your favorite part of it?
Of the film? What was my favorite part of it?
Like, was there a moment that you felt like, whoa, wasn't expecting that, or was like, oh, I like this bit because...
If I had to pick a favorite part, it's probably the... I really liked the character who was cast as the villain type.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the scene specifically where the two of you are interacting, I thought there was a lot of really powerful moments there where, I don't want to give anything away, but just... the moment kind of in the beginning, like the dialogue between you guys, I just thought that was really powerful. Like, it really set the stage. Like I said, as I'm watching it, it felt like I was watching a Bond film, Mm-hmm. And I mean, the thing about fan films is there can be a large. You never know what to expect because all sorts of filmmakers of any level and skill make fan films. This one doesn't really feel like a fan film in that same way. It feels like a film, I guess, which it is. Yeah,
that's the thing with fan films. Like, they can be their own separate entity, but then they pay homage to the actual, like, the original stories.
Yeah.
So it's like we're trying to also, in a way, heighten that fans. Like, we're not trying to condemn the whole thing. We're just saying, like, hey, we as fans as well like this, so let's try and show something.
Yeah, exactly. It was really well done, and like I said, it's a short. I guess the only thing I would say is I wished it was longer. I wanted to see what happens next.
Aww.
What's gonna happen next?
Maybe there will be part 2. Hint, hint.
Ooh, there you go. Who knows, people? Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. There could be something else. I don't know. But anyway, it was really well done. So congratulations, and everybody check it out. Link is in the description down below. Somebody else asked, or is it? Gregor asks, what about anime? Are you an anime fan?
I am, Greg. Thank you for asking. I am indeed an anime fan.
Do you have any suggestions or recommendations for people, or ones you've been checking out lately?
Lately, it's been a whole bunch. But like the original ones that really got me into watching more anime was Tokyo Ghoul and also Darling in the Franxx. And then there's more of the slice of life comedy ones. Have you seen this one? Love is War, Kaguya-sama?
I have not. I haven't seen all 3 of those that you mentioned. I have not seen. I like anime, but I haven't seen those ones.
So which ones do you like?
Okay, so I think my favorite is probably Death Note.
Seen that, yeah.
Yeah. And I like Neon Genesis Evangelion. I watched that.
I have not seen that.
It's pretty old actually, but it was on Netflix. And actually I think there's no more episodes. I'm thinking of Attack on Titan, which is another one I like. But Neon Genesis Evangelion, it was it's kind of in that genre of like giant robots fighting each other. That's a whole genre of its own.
Oh yeah. There is a name for it, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
Mecha?
Probably more. That sounds about right. Mechs or mechas.
That's it.
Yeah, But it's kind of it's almost a spin on that genre. Because I read up about it after, because the ending is so weird and controversial that I ended up jumping online and reading about it. And it was really controversial when it came out. And that's why they ended up coming out with like a movie that kind of redoes the last episode. So it's really weird. But it was kind of a twist, or like a new take on the mecha genre. Yeah, Gregor Straley, right? Straley says mecha is what it was called. So
exactly, I was right.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't know if I should be concerned.
Mecha, yeah. Well, there you go. So that one I liked, and what's another one I watched? Have you seen Attack on Titan?
Well, I think I'm going to revisit that one because I watched it and then I was expecting something different, I think. That's why I was feeling a bit like, oh, this wasn't really what I expected, so I don't think I'm going to continue. But I'll try and get back to it.
I've seen the first season, because that's all it was on Netflix here. And so now, but I'm told there are a bunch more seasons, so now I've got to watch them. One thing I'll say about it is it took a long time to get moving. There's a whole bunch of episodes off the top where it was interesting, but I couldn't tell what they were trying to do with it or where it was going to go. It covers a lot of ground, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably maybe why that I felt like, oh, it's a bit slower paced than I imagined. Yeah. So I was like, if I don't really get into it. That's why some of the comedies or slice of life. There's one that's just got back in Origaru. It's not something I've finished off though. I'm definitely a binger when it comes to watching something. It's like gotta all be out, or it's hard to keep track.
I find One Punch Man is one I like. That was a comedy. Have you seen One Punch Man?
I have, through my brother. He's the one who showed me more of that.
One Punch Man. It's just funny and like it's so random, but I like it. I watched the whole thing.
I've seen bits and pieces, but I've not seen it like from start to finish. Like I've just seen mostly in the middle.
Oh yeah.
He's an interesting character. What's his name?
Oh shoot. I can't remember. You know what? Actually, you know what the thing is. Actually, I've realized in general I'm actually not very good with names, even in real life. But I also find it's incredibly, like I realized, like I saw Tenet earlier this week, and I remember 0 characters' names, not even one, not even a single character. So
yeah, it takes me a while as well remembering names and characters. Just like, oh yeah, I just know the kind of the personality. Have you seen Demon Slayer? Also, I couldn't remember his name for a while. I think now. Oh, that's really good. And even Uniqlo are doing a collaboration with the Demon Slayer characters, so you can have them on your T-shirt.
Hey, I have not. Oh yeah. Gregor actually just said in the chat, you'd love Demon Slayer, Scott. Okay, well, there you go. That's 2 people recommending Demon Slayer. I'll have to check
you'd
it out.
like it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Demon Slayer.
I did not expect this to turn into an anime chat.
Well, hey, the chat brings it up, and sometimes you hit on that subject, and I like it. I mean, it's what it is that I think the stories are just deeper. I just find they're deeper stories. It makes sense why so many like American or Western films get adapted from anime, because I just think the world that they build in these animes, they just feel like they're a lot bigger. Like I don't know. They just spend more time. There's more philosophical questions, and I find even stuff that's created for a younger audience, they don't treat the audience, the kids, like they're stupid. Like they tend to be serious and emotionally driven, even though they're even when they're for kids.
Yeah, and I admire the voice acting so much. I don't know if you watch it like subbed or dubbed, but either way, like it's so. You can tell. You have to tell straight away that it's so emotive. Yeah, I'm
99% subbed.
Yes, good. We can be friends.
Yeah, well, because especially there have been times where I've watched it. In fact, it's a good example. I watched Batman Ninja. You ever hear of that one? It was like a movie, but it was so it's starring Batman, but he gets like transported back in time to, I guess, feudal Japan, but it's made by like a Japanese like animation studio. So it's an anime, but it's starring Batman, and I first watched it. I watched it with English dub, because I think when I first started watching, I didn't really realize it was an anime, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I didn't really like the voices. It just didn't sound right. And the other thing is, I don't think it was like it just wasn't recorded well. Like I don't think I don't know. Anyways, point is, I watched it and then I was like, that was so weird. And then I just for fun watched it again with Japanese dub, and I'm like, or Japanese subtitle, sorry, or English subtitle.
Oh,
Japanese.
okay, yeah.
Yes, Japanese audio. And I'm like, whoa, this is so much better. Wow, this is like, so go that way. Although I will say, Death Note dubbed is quite good.
It was good, actually. I've seen it in dub too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on how much money they put into it. And like, actually, one thing I noticed when I was reading up about the Batman Ninja one, because I was again wondering why I didn't like it so much as dubbed. Apparently there was like there was really bad communication between the Japanese creators and the English voice actors, and something like they weren't sent the actual script. They were just sent basically the footage, and they kind of had to create a script based on what they were seeing, but they were never actually given an actual script of what was happening. So they kind of had to interpret the words themselves, which is why another reason I think that happens a lot, which is why you'll see a lot of times there's like a massive difference between what they say in the English version and what they say in the Japanese version. It's because there's often, so I'm not sure what that's about or why that happens, but it does. I don't know.
I guess it does.
Yeah. In fact, that's why actually, even when I watch Death Note, I watch Death Note English dub, but I watched it with I watched it with subtitles, because the subtitles are a translation of the Japanese, and I do that just so that if there's a slight difference in what they say, I know. And sometimes there are, like, even like or sometimes the expression is different, that kind of thing, Anyway.
Slightly, yeah, exactly. It will like mean the same thing. I don't know. I also feel like that way when memorizing lines in general for like just whatever script, and then it's like, oh, sometimes you don't say the line per se, but you say like the meaning behind it, and it like still makes sense.
Yeah. That makes sense, because expressions tend not to translate necessarily language to language. Gregor says, Batman Ninja is fantastic as long as you know it's a joke of a movie. Yeah, that's a good point. Greg, I agree. That one's got some mechas as well, actually. They've got some mecha, like castles. Like the castles come to life. They're like robotic castles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they go all out. And oh, oops, did I spoil something? Oh yeah, I guess I kind. Well, I think you can see it in the trailer. As I recall, I think you can see those in the trailer. So
yeah.
Anyway, and honestly, even knowing that those
Hopefully
exist,
you won't get attacked by fans.
Yeah. And also, there's so much happens in that movie that I feel like it's almost hard to spoil. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they're in the trailer, but if not, my bad. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Nice long anime talk, everybody. That was great. That was really good. Regina Lena, the co-host, she asks, good question, Regina. I asked this as well.
Is she confused? Does she watch anime?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think she does, actually. I'll have to find out from her. I don't think she does, though. So there you go, Regina. Now you know some stuff about anime. But she asks, what is your favorite snack?
I'm a chocoholic. I love chocolate. Anything with chocolate.
Milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
I love dark chocolate now, but I can go anything but white chocolate.
Actually, white chocolate, they say, is not technically chocolate, is what they say.
Exactly. That's why it's an imposter.
An imposter. Yes, that's true. So you prefer dark chocolate, or you said dark chocolate now. Does that mean when you were younger or like a kid you preferred milk and now you prefer dark?
Yeah, I preferred milk, but I still have milk chocolate, like I guess like cookies or chocolate bars, Cadbury, anything that's milk. But I would definitely go for dark chocolate, as they say it's the healthier option. So they say,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I've read a couple articles that are like it's good to have like a piece of dark chocolate a day. It's good for I think they
yeah,
have
it's like good for your
antioxidants or
heart or something. Or,
yeah.
yeah.
That's what that's what they're saying. So good. And I
To
like
try
dark
and
chocolate.
kind of maintain my addiction, I would have dark chocolate at times.
So do you like a 70% dark chocolate, or do you go all the way to 90% dark chocolate? Are you like which one do you prefer?
At most 90%, but for me to enjoy it, it'd have to be like between 70 and 80. 75 is good, like middle, like 3/4 point. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, you get into the 90. It's still good, but I find I it's got to be like small bites type thing. Like it's
Yeah, I find it has an aftertaste. It gets really bitter, and it's
Yes.
90 and above.
Yeah.
But I've had 100% dark chocolate in a hot chocolate, and I thought that was amazing. But it's also mixed in with milk technically, so
Yeah.
I don't
okay.
know if it's really 100%. Yeah.
I guess it wouldn't be, because it would be, at least like 50% like milk.
That's what
I
I
guess.
thought, but it's good for winter season when it's
Yes.
coming soon.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be the interesting thing actually with winter is because I don't know how I assume it's probably similar there, but here we're in what's called stage 3 of our reopening phase, and with stage 3 it means pretty much all businesses are open, but all of the I don't think you're allowed to eat indoors yet, or if you are, nobody is, but any place that's got a patio is open, and all the tables are spread apart. So outdoor activity is everything here now, but obviously it's gonna get cold, and so I'm curious to see what that's gonna look like for everybody going back inside.
Yeah, I feel like there's more normality here then, because tables at first were separated, so at least a table between. But now we're quite close. Like it's just kind of building it back together where it's there's no restriction really on distance. But it's like a maximum per table is 6.
Okay. Yeah, here it's still, in fact, the way it is now, if you want to go and eat at a restaurant, you have to give, at least one person at the table has to give their name and phone number for contact tracing, so that if there's an outbreak that happens, then they can get in touch with you. Do you guys, are you doing that as well? Or?
Yeah, that's the same thing. Because like had booked in for a restaurant last week, and they were like, oh yeah, like name and contact, and even it's quite fancy where you just hover your phone over a barcode, and then it scans, and then you just send in all your details and information in case they trace like someone has coronavirus, and then it's like, oh, so now we have to check from that night all the people who were at the restaurant and get in touch with you. It's like, oh, get checked. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Actually, here
that
in
was
Toronto,
booking in for.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you go.
No, I was It was weird. Yeah, it was that was like booking in for a restaurant last week for my birthday, and then I just realized like it was like 2 days ago I was doing a self-tape, and then when you're doing your introductions, it's like, hi, I'm like this and that. Hi, my name's Hannah Knight. I'm 23, 4. Like just everything was like, oh my god, and I felt like this year shouldn't even count.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. This is like the year that. Well, I mean, it clearly happened, but it definitely feels like, yeah, I agree. I like that. This year doesn't count. I like that. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. What was I going to ask you? I can't Oh, actually, you know what I was going to ask you about, because we were talking a little bit about, you lived in Canada for a while. Is that true? Yes? Yes,
that's true. I lived there for 2 years. But it was for university, and I lived on the other side, so I lived in Vancouver.
Okay. And you were here for 2 years. Their winters are not as severe as the rest of the country, I believe. So how did you find the winters? Or were you here through the winter?
Yeah, I was there some parts of the winter. It was mainly like I'd go back at the time my family lived in Singapore. So over the breaks, like some winter breaks, I'd go over to Singapore, Japan. And but then I'd spend like a good majority of the summer in Vancouver. So there was just one period, it was weird, where it was like coming up with examinations, and I was there for like a bit of a winter period until New Year's. And yeah, it felt freezing, but it felt quite similar to London. And I was more or less my first time adjusting to like living in colder climate for a longer time period. Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
I didn't mind it.
I've heard that comparison made, because they also say, like Vancouver, they say it just rains all the time, and I know they say that about London as well. That it's a rainy type place. Does it rain a lot in London?
Pretty similar. We've been quite lucky with the summer. It's been really hot. We've had a heat wave, just 35 degrees Celsius. What's it in Fahrenheit? I get lost.
We do. I don't know. I don't know Fahrenheit. We do. We have Celsius in Canada as well. So I always get confused by Fahrenheit.
Oh, good. Yeah. Because yeah, exactly. Sometimes some people I know do Fahrenheit over there, and I was like, oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I know. Like my parents. Well, they know it now, but I can't remember when they switched to Celsius. But anyway, I've never known any other one than Celsius, but I know some people probably know both, but I don't. I'm very confused by it.
Cool. Yeah. But
Celsius
during the lockdown time, we've had a heat wave, which was bizarre, and then like everyone wanted to go to the beach or something, and there was still a time where everyone was going to the beach, and it's like, did everyone just forget lockdown's happening?
Yeah, we had some of that same situation here as well. And it's sort of like things are starting to reopen, but yeah, there were definitely, I know they had a problem where, yeah, as soon as it got warm, there's a park here called Trinity Bellwoods Park, and there was just photos, like right in the middle of everything, there was just hundreds and hundreds of people just all over the grass there. And so the government had to respond to that. In fact, what they ended up doing was they had a bunch of city workers go in and paint a bunch of big circles on the grass, about all 6 feet apart. So you've got so from a bird's eye view, it looks so strange. There's just this huge park with all these circles all over the floor, and that's and it worked. I mean, I guess that's what people started doing.
Sitting quad. Yeah. They don't have anything like that here.
Huh. I guess every bear is dealing with it in different ways, I guess. But
I feel like they ought to, but that's not really happening.
Well, things are, I mean, it looks like, I know they keep talking, my fear, and I guess people are talking about, is that second wave that they're talking about happening, but at least here so far, the numbers have been going down and pretty steadily declining for the last quite a few weeks now, actually. So is it similar there? Are things kind of looking like they're going back normally?
Yeah, it's declining. There's been some parts of England where they've had to enter into this kind of like a lockdown, but it's just reclosing some of the restaurants that were open for like in the stage 3 period too. And then now it's like some have closed down again. And then I think it's just temporary. So like, 2 weeks or something, and then they'll reopen.
Makes sense. Cool. Well, there you go. Oh, Ashley O2 asked another question. Okay, here's a cool one. What is the world of acting generally like? Is it like being Batman, having a duality between the characters you play and your personal life? Very interesting question, Ashley. I will throw it to you, Hannah. So, what is it like? What is it generally like? Is it like being Batman, having a duality between the characters you play and your personal life?
Ooh, that is deep. A very good question. Yes, could go into all sorts of philosophical readings. Yes. I would say, there's this, you still have to have this separation between your private and public life, but then a lot of the people that you work with will also start to be in your private life, if that makes sense. It's like you get to know them, and then it's like, well, first it's maybe very professional, and then later it'll lead out to like, hey, like want to hang out, it's got that social aspect. But then in terms of like also preparing for the role for like acting, I would say majority of it is just for me, I have to be kind of in my own space, in my own element to really pursue the role. So I need to like have that downtime with myself, and just I get distracted easily. So I know if like, oh, friends are constantly trying to hustle up and meet, I'll be like, I have to say I'm working, because that's where I need to dedicate my own time, and that's my private space to getting into character. And I feel like that's my process. But yeah, I guess then there is that Batman, because then it's like you have that what's the character's name? Christian
Bruce
Bale,
Wayne?
obviously playing.
Oh,
I'm just
Christian
thinking of Bruce Wayne. I was like just thinking of the actor. I was like, he plays, what's his name? Yeah, Bruce Wayne. So it's like that Bruce Wayne, and then having that public side. Yeah, it's a very tricky balance too.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you with the needing to get, especially if the character or the part or the whatever you're shooting or working on that day, especially if it's particularly emotional or like, you need a certain headspace. Yeah, I'm definitely, it's good. I need some time to just, get into that mode, right? I don't know what you, because I've actually wondered about it, because I know like there's kind of two, or there's probably more than two, but in terms of like acting, you're gonna have some actors who will, I guess, more like, is it method, where you kind of want to get into, feel those emotions yourself, or imagine a time when you felt those emotions, then feel them. So that's kind of one way of getting into it. And then others will look at it as like, no, like if you want to portray somebody sad, then you just make your face look like it's sad. You know what I mean? You don't have to feel the emotions. You just are mimicking them. I'm not sure which one I am. I kind of think I might be a mix of the two, but
I feel like for me it depends on the role.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, because some of the ones I've been doing recently with the coming of age narrative, I didn't even expect resonated in ways that it was like just being on set and like being in that moment. I did start to feel like, oh, I tapped into those memories that I didn't even plan on it. It was just like more instinctual when actually going to set and doing it. And then that happened. Whereas there's other things where I have to focus on my physicality. So one of the first film projects I did was for an AI role. So I kind of had to work on ways, and like I had to really focus on like the movement of my body, making sure I'm like upright, not like doing very human-y things.
Because you were like literally, you're a robot.
Focus.
Like you were playing a robot?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, playing a robot. And then her desire that's the difference in the mentality, where her desire is that she wants to be human. So like her mind, it's like it comes across as very natural and like, oh yeah, I'm like just a girl wanting to do things. But then her movements are very like you can tell there's no like breath to it. So it's just kind of like making sure your posture is upright, moving in quite a systematic way. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's why I find like Tu-Ping is in the chat. Hi Tu-Ping, welcome to the stream. He goes, hi Hannah and Scott. Hope you guys are doing good. I heard you guys were talking about Batman Bruce Wayne. Yes, we were. Tu-Ping. Hi. Hi, welcome. Hello.
But yeah, I agree. It definitely depends on the role, because, well, like if I know, for example, if my day on set, like I've been to ones where I'm like I have one line and I'm just kind of yelling it, so then I don't really need to spend any time. And on those days I'm very talkative, and I say hi to everybody. Hey, okay, we're on camera. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, tell me what you want, and then I'm done, right? But
but then do you ever overthink it? Like, do you like, oh, I just have one line, so you have to say it in this correct, or in a correct way that you feel like is the best way?
Yeah, it goes, but I mean, I find generally if it's just one line, I don't usually get in my head about it too much. Actually, one thing that did happen on the set I was on recently was it was one line, the part, but I was reading through the script that it was kind of hinted at that he probably would have an accent, like not not a Canadian or American accent, but the director, nobody ever explicitly told me whether or not I should or shouldn't do an accent. And so I kind of just...
Okay.
And it wasn't clear necessarily where he was from. It was just somewhere that wasn't... So for that one, I was a little bit concerned, but what I ended up doing was I just decided to be French, and I didn't say anything. I just went on, and then I just did the line just with the French accent. And what was cool is what I was expecting was if they didn't want it, they would tell me. They're like, "Oh no, what is that? What are you doing?" But what was cool is I just did it, and they're like, "Okay, great, cut, good." And they had me they did another one. I did the same thing, and I was like, "Okay, cool. Then that's how he talks then." Okay, so that worked out. But yeah. In fact, actually, just going on the same thing of needing space, I find I'm especially like that in auditions, because I notice sometimes I'll go to an audition, and it's probably the same for you because I know in Toronto there's quite a few casting places, but you start to see a lot of the same people, right? Because usually when I get called in for because I mean I often get called in for, although it's changing a lot, but a lot of the times it's an Asian role gets called in, so I'm in a room full of other Asians, right? Which is starting which is increasingly changing. But anyway, the point is you start to see a lot of the same people, and I often find that you want to be sociable because I know this guy, or I worked with him, but I also find I almost don't really like to talk to anybody, because when I'm sitting in that waiting room, especially again if it's a heavier type of role or a specific character, I need to be ready. I almost want to be in character when I'm walking into the audition room. So yeah. So it's
Also, I find it hard to try and approach other people, because then it's like I also know, or I would have a feeling that they would want to be in their own headspace, rather than if they're still kind of going over the lines or something that they feel like they want to use some extra time to just get into character and prepare. Then I would also feel like I understand that, and rather would not approach. Maybe just a little glance, good luck kind of thing, just for motivation. And I think that's really nice to have that energy around. I'm about the same. What I try to do is I'll usually a nice acknowledging wave, and then the thing is the only problem is I find if then the person starts a conversation with me, it's because I can't just be like I can't talk right now. Okay, bye.
So
yeah.
If
that wasn't my character, then I would probably do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Try and find the courage to just be selfish. Yeah, you just have to.
Yep. And I find that it doesn't happen too often now. I guess I find, because I think you're right. No. Most actors, like I said, you usually don't have a conversation because you're thinking they're probably in their zone. And I think most people tend to know that because we all know what's going on. So there you go.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, Ashley O2. Do you get to perform your own stunts like Tom Cruise or Keanu Reeves? That's what Ashley O2 asked.
I haven't done enough action to really know, but for the Bond one, I didn't have a body double. It was me. And actually, interesting story with that was because we obviously have to make sure it's all done with safety measures, and that I was gonna, in the scene, I guess I also have to spoil a little bit, but there's a part where I fall backwards on a chair and I hit the ground. And it was just trying to find the most fluid way of doing that. And we actually captured it in another angle, which you don't see in the final cut, where it was from you could really see it was below me. So then it was just you get that motion where I'm really moving back. And there were 4 guys behind me just saying, "Don't worry, we'll catch you, we'll catch you." I was like, "You better catch me." This is my life. You're not sitting on this chair. Yeah. But then there was also other things to consider, where the chair wasn't all that sturdy, and the ground, it was a bit slippery on the surface of the chair. So I was like, this doesn't feel like the best procedure. We can do a little bit, but it just didn't. Yeah, after all that effort, it was this is not going to work.
So the answer there is yes, she has done her own stunts.
Yes. I have done, and it has been also been a bit scary with that. I think in
There you
future
go.
I would still like to, but there's a lot of different regulations that
Yeah.
sometimes it's like if you do really get injured, then this is like you jeopardize the whole film.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, generally speaking, yeah, exactly. You get injured, and then all the production shuts down, and yeah, they get pretty strict with anything like that. I know, like even when we had Christina Tontera Young on, she was talking about how like even during her fight scenes, so she had to learn them, and they put her through. Well, you saw the interview, yeah. She had to learn all the stuff. Which then they would shoot kind of a version of the fight scene, it sounds like, with her doing it, and then they have the stunt double come in and do the full out
the actual so it's still good to get an idea of the movement, and you need to show that realistically through the training, and then it's like they'll actually, when it's the parts where you're falling or you just landed, then it's like you have the stand-in.
Exactly. I too have done all my own stunts. I haven't had to do many yet. I've died on screen a few times, but I haven't. Actually, no. More often than not, they find me dead on screen. So like they had to do like makeup on, they had to do like a big gash on my head, and then I just had to lay there, with blood everywhere. So, but that was me. That was me being a corpse. Actually, the thing about the blood is the blood had a really strong smell, like a chemical smell. And so I actually found it was hard for me to just be still. And it was like, I remember like 'cause my eyes kept flickering. Like I was trying to just not move, which you'd think would be so easy. But it was a challenge. It was a challenge. So But there you go. We're both exactly. So we've both done our own stunts exactly like Tom Cruise or Keanu Reeves. Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, we've been chatting for an hour and a half already. Wow. This conversation.
Wow. Let's keep it going. This is great.
We can.
Unless you're thinking of getting to a close.
No, I mean I can ask you a few more questions if you're still down.
Yes.
Do you want to go on? All right. Well, I know that I wanted to ask you a little bit about stuff that you've hobbies or things that you've taken on since COVID started. I know you were telling me beforehand you've been doing some hip hop martial arts.
Yeah. It was just finding something on YouTube, just like, let's do something as an activity with some friends, and then we'd get on Skype or like a Zoom chat, and that was one of them where it was like mostly yoga, and then it was bridging onto something like, okay, I also like doing some I used to do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and just something like more active punching bases, and that was where the martial arts came in with like the hip hop. And I also used to do a lot of like commercial dance like classes, and well, I haven't been able to get back to that actually because they've really limited the space with their classes. But anyway, that's a separate thing. And with the martial arts, it was just like kind of doing I can do kind of like a jump kick in the air now, just handy if I want to go for that kind of role.
Cool. That's awesome. So you said you used to study Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
Yeah, I used to practice it in Singapore.
Wow. What brought you to that?
It was mainly for self-defense. I guess it was good, and also my dad enrolled me, and it was where like, just good to get that perspective and like how you can also defend yourself anyway. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll do it. And it was more for like recreational reasons, just for that purpose. And I enjoyed it. It's a very useful skill.
Yeah, that's awesome. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I never took any martial arts. I don't know. I wonder why I never did. I mean, growing up, my parents put me in hockey and baseball and soccer for a little bit, but mostly hockey. And I was basically a hockey in the winter, baseball in the summer. That was mine.
Yeah.
And yours?
Yeah, at the time of school, I was doing swimming, tennis, and then later on Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It was quite a lot on top of doing theater productions. So before film, it was primarily theater.
Makes sense. Oh, yeah. Oh, my mom's in the chat. She goes, and also piano. Yeah, that's right. Of course. Yeah. I was also in piano lessons as well. That's right.
Of course. How could you forget?
Yeah. Were you in piano lessons or any of those types of things?
I have only taken one piano lesson. I was more guitar.
Oh. I picked up guitar later on. I was in piano from a very young age, and I was a horrible piano student. I never practiced. So you get to a certain age, and then you start private lessons, right? So it's just you and one teacher, and the idea is that you go for your weekly lesson, and she kind of goes over the songs with you and tells you, okay, you learn this for next week, and practice through the week, and then we'll continue. That's how it's supposed to go. But what I would do is go to the class, have my 1 hour lesson, do nothing for the entire week, and so basically the only time I was practicing piano was in the 1 hour lesson.
Was at the session, yeah.
Yes. So my teachers were not fans at all, because like my teacher, I remember she was like, Scott, have you not looked at this since last week? I was like, I looked at it a little. Like, no, you did it. I'm like, you're right.
Yeah, I practiced. Of course I did.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where it's like I took piano lessons for like a decade, but pretty much none of it has. I can't play any songs that I learned from those days. Not a single one. Although I will say though, and this is to all the kids who are not liking their piano lessons. I didn't like it at the time, but I will say that I'm very grateful that I did it now, because it did make it easier for me to. Again, I eventually did teach myself guitar and learn all that other stuff. So I'm grateful for the lessons now, mom and dad.
Yeah.
There you go.
Technically, I am learning piano just as a way. Technically, it is for a role.
Oh yeah, cool.
So I've been able to have like a little bit of a like tutoring session for the piano, but it's for a very particular part. So I'm really grateful that like I kind of knew the basis of like some of where the notes were. I really needed recap, but then I was like, I really appreciate that I kind of had that first like piano lesson like ages ago, and just the sense of like how the keys feel like once again. Yeah.
Makes sense. There you go. Oh, my mom says, but you love to play piano for people when you're on hockey tournaments. That's true. I've always been a performer. So that's true. I was like, so yeah, I never liked playing, but then yeah, whenever there was a chance, Scott, play your song. Okay. But that's
Here we go.
There you go. Exactly. So you said you were doing theater for me. So when did you know you wanted to be an actor? Is that something you've always wanted to be, or did you grow into it later, or when did you first realize?
It was always something I knew, but it was just the moment of accepting that was always in phases. So my first on stage role was, I was really young. I was like 8, and it was just for a class play. And I knew some people, like I was very shy. So then when I went up for the role, and then they were like, great, we want you to play the part. And originally it was supposed to be a guy playing the part. I also didn't realize that. I was like, I just auditioned for a guy role. But anyway, and they were like, don't worry, it was like a hero part. So it could be a guy or a girl. And that was
cool.
Like the kind of the first taste of like, this is interesting. Like I always felt a bit more reserved. And then now this is a new outlet of expression. And going through more, it was very popular in our school, like theater, or like just theater itself. We had a lot more of theater going on than film.
Awesome. And
so it was just getting more into auditions for that, for like middle school, high school productions. And I didn't see myself like properly at the time, just like really, really pursuing it. I just thought at that present time, it was really good for me to expose myself and just like a new sense of like gaining like friends and different friendship groups. I always felt like I was a bit awkward, maybe. Just my perspective on growing up. And that really helped.
Yeah, acting is definitely a good way to bring you out of your shell. That's for sure. Did you do like, especially what I find what helps with that a lot is improv. You ever done any improv classes, that type of stuff?
Oh, I have, and that was something I was so terrified. And now I really just want to jump into more improv. I think film allows that more. That's why I appreciate film a lot. It's like you can rehearse so many times, but then it's not going to look natural on screen. Therefore, you just have to find a way. It's like, okay, I'm going to try something completely different. And then sometimes that ends up working much better.
Yeah, that's true. There's something about the spontaneity of it. Yeah, it tends to come across more. I noticed that when I started doing self-tapes more often. I go back now, if I watch some of my earlier self-tapes, I actually can't, well, I mean, I don't really watch my self-tapes anyway, but the few times that I've gone back and looked at my self-tapes, I'm like, these are awful. But I realize I think it's because I would do...
Experience the same thing.
Yeah, because you kind of figure out, like, I would be trying so hard to get it that you'll do like tons and tons of takes, right? And then you got the headache of having to pick the one you're going to send, which is annoying. But again, I also find, it starts to feel, or I guess look rehearsed in a weird way.
Yeah, but that's also what theater requires. It's like if you had that theater background, it's like you have to rehearse over and over again. And also for me, I was very much a planner. So I was like, oh, I'm going to plan at this moment. Like this is going to be my expression, this and that. Like it all had to go according to plan. And then as soon as it didn't, it felt like a recipe for disaster. It's like, no, I'm not going to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
That was like coming out of your shell and realizing that it's like, oh, it's not supposed to be like that because life isn't like that. Things don't go to plan.
That's true. And the thing is, especially with theater, is it's in the moment, so it's going to be its own unique thing every time you do it anyway, just because it's right there for the audience to see in real time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you said you started predominantly doing theater. How did you find the adjustment going from theater to film? Did you find there was a big change? Did you find that you had to adjust a lot of things that you were doing, or was it fairly smooth for you to transition, or how did you find it?
I think it was just more of the technical stuff that was a change. So getting used to like eyeline, and when I had done my first project, I think they had assumed that, oh, I've already had the film experience, where I've just done a few classes in Vancouver. But I hadn't actually done like an actual on-presence role. So that one was like the first. I prefer getting learning by actually like hands-on experience. So that one was like the best way to learn, rather than just like research. It's just like actually being there in person and being like, okay, like now I know.
Yeah.
And from that point, it was actually, I was going in for a theater audition. And then I came across like this listing, and it was in this similar area. So I thought, oh, I might as well try this film audition. And it was a pleasant surprise to get called back for that one. And then I didn't get called back for the theater audition. So I was like, okay, I'll just, if you have opportunities like that, just like see where it takes you and go for it. So I thought, okay, I have to go for the callback, and just not, I didn't even I expected nothing. I was like, maybe I'm not going to get this one too. And then I was on my way back, like this was in Bristol, southwest England, and I was living in London at the time. So I was on my way back, and then they told me on the bus, like, you got it. I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to have to go all the way back anyway.
Awesome, yeah.
It's nice how things turn out the way you don't expect them to.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, yeah, that's weird. Even doing this show, it's weird how, like, Regina and I started doing the show, literally, we were both kind of involved in beauty pageants, and then, so we met each other through those, but we had never really worked together over a long period of time. And then somebody else was looking to start a show at another studio, and they needed hosts. And so we only ended up doing this show really because I was in a beauty pageant many, many years ago, and that's the only reason, which is kind of strange to think about, but... but you never know where things will end up.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna? Oh yeah, I found for me transitioning from, because I studied theater growing up. Like I went to an arts high school, so our school, it was like you do all the other subjects, like regular high school classes, but you also do drama every day. I found the biggest change, the thing I noticed going from film to theater was theater, they're always telling you to project your voice, that was the big thing they're always pushing, like use your diaphragm and make sure you project out and you're delivering like this, and the people at the back have to hear you, all this stuff. And
yeah.
And I think that's the thing why some of my early self-tapes are so weird to look at, because I'm still speaking with that voice.
The theater voice. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing, and I actually noticed when you were saying how much you picked up just from doing it, right? Realizing you're doing it. And I also found being on set, well, the first thing I noticed when I was actually on a set, when I got a part, was how quiet the actors all speak on set.
Yeah.
They almost talk, I can't, maybe it is normal speaking voice, because I don't think about my voice when I'm speaking to people in a room. But I just remember watching them rehearse. Like I remember the first time they do like rehearsal, and before they bring in lighting, they bring in the rehearsal first, right? And they bring them in, and they're all just like, yeah, so then I'll tell you over here. Yes, I didn't want you. It's this weird, like, people have their their film voices, which is something that I really didn't realize.
Yeah, but sometimes the expression comes through more if it's a bit huskier, a bit more like inside of you. You feel. Yeah. I guess that's where the feeling comes from. Yeah,
that's true too. And then it becomes even more so when you see, like some roles, especially like more character roles. Like especially if it's like, say, the male character, he has like a very gruff like voice, and then you see like an interview with the actual actor after, and his voice is like way up here, and I'm like, what the? Is that the same guy?
Yes. So. Yeah, and that's similar with accents. It's like that duality. So what is Jodie Comer, for instance, in Killing Eve? Have you seen it?
I have not, but continue.
Okay. It's a cool show, but yeah, she has actually like a naturally like Liverpool accent, northern, and then in the show she's so like it is an international voice where it's mixed between like French and a bit Americanized, and then as soon as you hear her normal voice, people are like, what? Like, really? Even I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a flip. And I really admire that, because accents are tough.
Yeah, have you done any roles with accents, like other accents from your own? Have you had to do that yet?
This is the Darling Girl is going to be more in a English accent, and then I've also got to do show a duality, so like another accent completely. And that's been a bit of a challenge, but that's something I've been really looking for. It's something that I know, like, okay, I have to repeat these lines over and over again, but I also don't want them to be over rehearsed. But it's just so I can kind of nail the accent or the pitch. Yeah.
I had to do an audition where they wanted me to have what did they say? I think they described it as a central London accent. And I mean, so
standard, English standard,
I guess. But the thing is, like, my fear, like, I didn't get it, but I did the part. But the thing I didn't know was, like, I kind of tried to Google it and look at some videos of like, what does a central London accent sound like? Okay, and then my biggest fear with it was, it's like, this sounds good to me, but I was always in the back of my mind, I'm like, will somebody who's from London, like, they're gonna be able to, they're gonna know, right? They're gonna hear it. I don't know. I'm still figuring that part out, but yeah. So I haven't had.
Did you get anyone from London to listen over it?
No, I didn't have time. Like, it was something where I think they needed the self-tape. It was like I found out about it one day. They needed the self-tape the next day, so I really only had time to jump online, find some videos, watch some videos, shoot it, and then send it off. And that was kind of it. But I like the idea of doing accents. But But yeah, so like you were saying, it's weird when you see an actor who you know so well as whatever, the king of whatever place or whatever country they're fighting in, and then you hear them talk and it's a completely not only different accent, but the voice is completely different. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. that's like an aspiration or something like I would definitely look up to if you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to be able to do accents. I mean, it's something that I want to. I was also chatting. Yeah, last time I was on set, I was chatting with somebody who she does quite a few different accents. One of the other cast members, and she's like, I was like, yeah, I've been thinking about maybe trying to get into that. She's like, you should just watch YouTube videos. And I was like, okay, because
yeah,
it's a cool thing to have in your tool bag, I guess. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm trying to come through more in that voice acting role. So then it's you get to play with pitch, you get to play with intonation, accents. I don't really know, like my accent, I don't know, people tell me it's like I'm seen as like Asian American in London, but then when I'm in the West, like in the States, it's like, oh no, you do sound more British. And I was like, oh really? Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think listening to your, I guess because it's I don't really know how to describe accents, but yeah, I would say I could understand.
Third culture kid. I would say it's transatlantic, or like mid-Atlantic. So it's between the two. It's like between the UK and America, or Eastern.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm grateful for that, because then now I find it easier to switch between the two. Sometimes I'll be a bit more American, and then other times when it's like I know it's just an English role, then I'll be more English.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense, because then you can kind of if your accent has like different parts of the world built into it, you can kind of just lean into one more than the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was
sense.
like by choice. I was like, yes, okay, I'll be more American today. Yeah, totally. That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh no, okay, I'm gonna be a bit more English. All right.
Yeah, exactly. I find from a lot of my auditions here, a lot of times it's mostly I just got to make sure that I kind of remove any of the more Canadian sounding vowels because a lot of the roles usually they want an American accent. So I just got to watch how I say words like about. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because mine's not so much a boot as much as it's about. It's like out.
About.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
like
noticed that when I was living in Vancouver, where I was saying sorry, started saying that a lot, in that way, and then as soon as coming back to Singapore, I was like sorry, and I was like, oh, my accent just changed.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't notice it most of the time, except I'll notice it if I hear, say, a recording back. I remember years ago I was interviewed by somebody in the U.S., right? It was just a phone interview thing for like his, I guess, a podcast. And I just remember listening to it afterwards and hearing him speak and me, and I was like, whoa, I sound really Canadian right now. And I only noticed it hearing my voice
when
compared
you hear
to
back
his.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I just gotta instead of saying go in the house, I have to say house. I just gotta make my mouth bigger. House. Go in the house. Sorry. Anyway, it's one of those things.
Don't apologize. It's fine.
Yeah, that's right. That's the other Canadian side of me. We apologize a lot. That's true. We do that. Well, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. I think we should wrap up. But before we do, why don't you tell us where can people find you if they want to follow your creative acting journey?
I would say Instagram. That's where a lot of the project pages are, and I'm going to be posting up more about them, and just acting in general. So follow me at HAFKnight, KNIGHT _. So it comes up as at half nights, and that's actually my full name and the initials. So everyone thought like, oh, you're half night because you're like half English Filipina, and I was like, oh no, actually it's like my full name, which is Hannah Alexandra Flores Knight. So I try to bring it all back into one, and actually Hannah Knight seems to be quite a popular name online. So I was like, I haven't actually met another Hannah Knight, but I was just like, okay, I have to try and find a different user name.
Makes sense. Half Night. Yeah, I have the same problem. Scott Brown is again, same situation. I've never met another Scott Brown, but there are a lot. Brown is, I don't know how common a name it is, but I think there are a lot of Browns in the world. And
I think it is quite common. It's like also when writing a script, it's like, oh, you need a last name. It's like Brown or White, John White or something, like really like John.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's why I added my middle name in there. And actually, Scott Dion Brown, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in the world. I'm the only one. So,
yeah.
Works well. So, yeah, there you go. So, Half Night, HAFKNIGHT _ on Instagram. Nexus in the chat says, yeah, you're going to get a lot of doppelgangers with Scott Brown. Exactly, Nexus. You're exactly right. But not Scott Dion Brown. I'm the only one. All right, so I guess we already talked about it, but I guess any final thoughts, final words for our viewing audience here today before we say goodbye? Oh, hello? Can you hear me?
There, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was just asking if you had any final thoughts or final words for the audience. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I didn't even hear the last bit. Yeah, no, I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
I think, we are reaching 2 hours, so I feel like we've had a lot of discussion.
Yes. It was a good chat. It went by really, really fast, actually. That's why when I looked down, I saw we had already been an hour and a half, and now we're almost hit 2. But that's good. That means it went well.
Yeah.
I find with these shows, when the time shoots by fast, it means it was a good chat. I really enjoyed it. Did you have fun?
Yeah, me too. I had a great time.
Excellent. All right. Yeah. Well, everybody. So make sure you check out Hannah Knight. Make sure you check out the Bond film, No Time to Die. The link is in the description down below. And follow her, HAFKNIGHT _ on Instagram. And I believe I put the link to that in the description as well. So make sure you check that out. And,
yes. And feel free to message, feel free to message and send me your thoughts, of course, always open to hearing even, I always like to welcome criticism, constructive criticism. So if there's this bit, it's okay, back to work.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. So find her there on Instagram, everybody. And find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Scott Dion Brown, right here where you're watching this show. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well, right here, Scott Dion Brown. You can also find me on Twitch and DLive, also at Scott Dion Brown. But your best place is YouTube, right here where you're watching this show, because I post here quite often. I've been doing a lot of video games as well, lots of gaming, Monday to Friday. It's a grand old time. Tomorrow night, we're going to be doing a Brawlhalla 1v1 tournament, so come on out to that. And ladies and gentlemen, you could have gone anywhere. Okay, well, no, you can't go anywhere. But on the internet, you could have gone anywhere, any website in the whole world. But you chose to come here and tune in and watch a very, very wonderful discussion between Hannah Knight and myself. And so thank you guys so much for coming. Please smash that like button down below if you liked it. Make sure you follow Hannah on Instagram. Follow me on all those places as well. And thank you guys for being here. Official Twerp, I came in at the end. Yes, you did, Official Twerp. You're here just in time for the goodbye.
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
We're glad you made it. So yeah, once again, Hannah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's been great.
And all the best to you and all of your endeavors and all that stuff. And it was great talking to you.
And you too.
Yeah. And if you're ever
acting.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope we can actually work on something together, collaborate.
That would be cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. And if you're ever in Toronto and the studio gets opened up again whenever we're out of this, we'd love to have you in studio in person. That'd be cool.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Can fly me out, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we've got a huge massive budget, so we'll take care of all that. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you've got it all hiding, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes, multi-million-dollar budget. It's really good. So, all right, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.